Hey guys, hey! Today I am gonna do some coloring with you. I'm using this book, Mystical Meadows by Bambi Colors. It's the only book I have of hers, but I really like it. This is my first page, and I'm doing this for a buddy color. You'll see here, this is the mood board. So I'm using this tutorial book, How to Color Skies. It's all skies, which is kind of nice, by Goldy, Twinkle. So I am going to use this cloudy, moody sky as my clouds and my smoke instead of the actual sky. So you can see here, I'm going to speed it up a little bit, but I'm going to go in with the blender first. And so you'll see here, I forget to do that a couple times first, but it still turned out okay. So you go in there, wet that page, and then I'm going to go in with my lightest gray. I'm using the Arrtx Oros. So I'm just going to go right over that space where I used the blender. And you can see it already kind of gives it like a mottled kind of look. And then I'm going to take my first I'm going to take my blender again, and I'm going to go over that just to give it a little bit more texture. And then I'm going to just keep going up with my next darkest color, which is that CG5. So I go a little bit over, I'm literally just scribbling and then going back over with the blender. So it's just a lot of back and forth, but I do really like how this ended up looking. I think it looked I don't want to say realistic because it's marker coloring, but kind of, it looks good in the end. What I'm upset about is that I ended up taking a Posca to it and I feel like ruined it, but it is what it is. So here I am going back in with that middle color. I'm going to bring it up, do my next layer. And, sorry, my nose is stuffy today. Have you guys had like colds and stuff lately? I'm sure that most of you probably live where it's cold and have been dealing with it for a while. Our weather here has been kind of crazy in Florida. But anyway, so you can see I'm just going to keep going back and forth with my blender and the markers. And I'm just doing this until I get the look that I like. On the smoke from the volcano. So this is for a book from Instagram. I'm sorry, not a book, a group from Instagram. You can see here I am just pulling out that picture. I like to do that on simpler pictures like this. Just go ahead and extend that into the border and just color the whole page. I think it gives it a really nice look. I'm just blending. I'm just going back in until I feel like it looks good. So anyway, this is a page for a dragon themed group on Instagram. So most of the groups that I'm in on Instagram are people who do marker coloring and in the cozy books. And so that's usually what I'm doing too, which I do love. I've kind of been on a pencil kick lately though, so I haven't done a marker page in a while, but I decided last night, it was Friday, to sit in my art room and just color because I haven't really had that much time. I've been like doing colored pencil pictures like over the week, but just a little here, a little there. So you can see it's starting to give a good like smoky, you can see like it has like the texture of smoke. If smoke has a texture, it just gives that kind of, it has the shadows and the depth in some spaces. So it gives it that nice little look. And I'm really so mad. You'll see at the end how the smoke came out. And I probably am going to go back and fix that a little bit today. I went in way too much with my white Posca in the end. So here I am just pulling those clouds out to extend them. I'm using my Ohuhu fine liner. I think this was the 0.6. So I'm going to extend the wing out here. I was a little nervous doing that, but it came out okay. So I was I was happy with that. Most of the time I go in with pencil, but I don't know. Last night I was just like, I'm just gonna do it because these are like very simple lines, you know. Hard to screw up if you just do it. So my blender had started to dry up, I think, at this point. So I did end up having to go grab an Ohuhu blender from my stash of extra Ohuhus that I keep in my closet in this room. Luckily, you can see it's drying up, so that was frustrating. But luckily, I have one right there. I have lots and lots of extra Ohuhus. Could never be left without my Ohuhu stash. Anytime they're on sale, like at Michael's, or if I have like a coupon at Michael's and there's nothing else I want to buy, I will just buy like whatever they have there, to just have on hand. I also, when I end up needing to buy new Ohuhus, I will go on TikTok, and there are several sellers. I don't know their names off the top of my head, but there are several sellers that, sorry, my audio cut out there. There are several sellers that you can tell them exactly which markers you want, and they will send you them. I think usually it's a pack of 5 or 6 you have to order. So I have like a little cup that I keep my dried up markers in that I don't already have a replacement for, and I use those to I keep those, and I will make an order once I have enough, which I do right now. I need to put an order in. There's a few that I just don't have in my stash, and even though Michael's is now selling Ohuhu's open stock, it's very limited. And they also are the new color codes, which make it really hard because I don't know the new color codes yet, so I have to look it up every time I'm there. And so it's probably easier, I think, just to order them from the TikTok shop. Let me know if you guys know of any other way to order them other than on TikTok shop, or any other sellers. I know, obviously, Ohuhu sells refills and replacements, but I haven't even looked for a while because they're always sold out. It's like pointless. Like, are there actually people who are getting those? Because I'm kind of convinced that it's just like for show and they don't actually even carry them. They're just pretending, because why are they always sold out? I mean, maybe it's better now because the fad has kind of, I think, like evened out a little bit, but I don't know. It's frustrating. I've never, ever, ever been able to buy a refill that I needed. So you can see on these clouds, I'm just doing the same thing. I am just going in with, here I'm doing opposite than I did. I'm going in with the darkest and doing the lightest on top, but it's the same technique I'm using. And you can see I did end up grabbing that Ohuhu somewhere in here while I was rambling on. I did go and grab that, and this was a nice fresh one, so it felt so much better than that Oros one that I had been using. I think I do have at least 1 or 2 extra Oros blenders, but they're all the same. And honestly, the Ohuhu tip I think is a little better. The Oros tip on that blender that I had was like it was like getting smaller and smaller. Like it was going up into the marker or something. It was weird, really weird. So I'm just doing my clouds here. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up a little bit for you guys. Okay, so we're going a little faster now, just to get through this little cloud section. I tried to keep this video as close to an hour as I could. This is my first video of actually coloring, and it is also my first video of doing a voiceover. So hopefully it all works out. You can see there, I'm just going back in with the blender. You know, I just kept going back in until I would get the look that I wanted. So on my last couple of clouds here, and by this time I was over it, and I was, trying to just get through these. last cloud. Going back in a little bit, that one under the dragon ended up being way lighter because I was over it. So I was rushing. And I do have this sped up so you can see it's a little faster than, well, yeah, 2 times faster at least than normal. But I am a very, I'm a messy colorist. I really am. I'm messy. Here I'm trying to find colors for my sky. So if you remember back to the mood board that I posted for this page, it was supposed to be like, there was no yellow in the mood board, but I didn't want to do too much gray because we had the clouds, we have the mountains. So I decided to do the back on like yellow orangey color. And I think I'm glad that I did that because it would have just been too dark. And I don't know, maybe the dragon would have popped a little more. You'll see I end up doing the dragon that like orangey red, and maybe it would have popped a little better, but I was feeling the yellow. I had actually originally planned on doing the sky using a tutorial from that from the sky tutorial book that I used for the smoke in the clouds. It was like yellow sky with like orange sun rays, but I just couldn't get it to look correct, and I wasn't trying to spend too much time trying to perfect that technique, so I ended up just doing a dry color blend here. And I'm still using my Oros. I used my Oros the whole time for this. I was in my art room and my coloring room, whatever it's called, and those are what's in there. So other than I have my extra ohuhus in there, but not my like main ohuhus. So that's what I tend to use when I'm sitting at my desk. I do have my ohuhus in a bin though that I can move around. You might hear my dog in the background. I close the curtain so she can't see out the window to bark at people, but I don't know, she must hear something because she's still growling. So she's a funny girl. So just doing a regular blend here on the skies. Now go to the other side. And as you can see, I'm a messy colorist. I just go, and a lot of times I'm going out of the lines, but I almost always go over with acrylics, and so I can easily hide that with acrylics. And the pages take so long anyway. I mean, I want to say this page took me like almost 3 hours, if not 3 hours. Even though this video is only about an hour, I have everything sped up a little bit. So even this, to me, this page was very simple, and even this simple page still took me so long. So if I'm not coloring like a crazy person, then it would take forever. And with marker pages, I don't like to make them last more than, I like to get them done in one day. So I'm just going back over and over and over till my blend is how I want it. I don't know. Oh, there was a spot there. There was like a weird random spot. And I have no idea what it was from. It must have picked up from the blotter page behind it. That is a problem if you're going over and over a lot with multiple layers of marker. It will pick up whatever is on that bottom page, so it can get messy. Those are my colors. Okay, now I'm going to go to this Magical Worlds You Can Color book by Willow Lake Studios, and she has this lava in here, so I'm going to draw some lava in there with my Ohuhu fine liner. I just want to add it to the volcano, so I just drew just a little blob, and I'm going to pick out some colors, and I'm going to go ahead and try this out in the tutorial book first. I'm kind of going back and forth in my head here, trying to figure out what colors, how many colors I need. So my markers are standing right in front of me here. Sorry for the reach over. I was thinking after, like, oh my god, my arm's like totally just in their view of so I just moved my clip. I got those clips at Dollar Tree. You guys should check out Dollar Tree because they're awesome clips for $1. They don't leave marks. I used to use like binder clips, and they would leave like indentations on my books. So these are obviously not as strong as binder clips, but they work perfectly fine to keep the blotter pages right where they should be. So this lava tutorial is basically just a blend with your yellows and oranges. So I didn't really even need to do this in the book, but I just thought it would be fun just to try it out. Sometimes I'm in the mood to do them in the book, and sometimes I don't want to do it in the book. I want to save that space for some reason. I don't know why, because it's meant to be used. But I don't know. There's some that I have like messed up, and then I just feel like it's there forever, half done, and I don't want it in there. But anyway, so it's starting to look a little bit more like lava. I added the red. I ended up having to go back and like get like that darker red than I had originally had, or like reddy orange color. So I just am going back and forth and doing a couple, trying to make the gradient more apparent. And I ended up writing these like backwards, so I mess up. You'll see on. So I confused the 23 and the 33. So you'll see I end up up here. I'm going to my Posca just to do the little dots. You can see in the last step they have some little white dots. I didn't end up really doing that with the white Posca. So I ended up using 23 and 33 backwards, and so it was an easy fix though. And I realized like immediately, basically, I was like, I don't think this is right. So just a blob. And then here, see, I'm like, wait, which marker is this? So I was like, wait, but I wrote it down right, so maybe it is right. So then I'm just like, okay, let me just do it. I'll just go with it. But then when I went back in with the lightest color, I realized, oh, no, this is definitely not right, because it's not blending at all like it was in the tutorial book. So I do end up coming in with the correct orange, and I just kind of added it in there. It didn't work. It worked. I mean, it did. It gave, a better blend than I had there, but I was so annoyed with myself. How can I do that? But it happens. Now I'm coming in again with that original one, and then I was like, no, I already have too much. Let me just go in with the darkest red. So going with that, trying there to cover up the gray that had bled over. And I'm not being too precious about the lines, because I know I'm going to come in with my acrylics. And I'm just blending, going back through with the gradient. And I'm going to do this a few times until it looks how I want it to look. At the end, you'll see I come in with all of my acrylic details. So if you wait till the end of the video, you will see how I do that. I will also try to put some timestamps in here. You see, I fixed it so that if I come in here and use this next time, I don't mess up again on my tutorial book. But yeah, I'll try and do a timestamps. I will do my best. No promises, but I will try and do that. So again, I'm just, going back in, and back in again with the darkest red. It was kind of, I don't know, the darkest. I think I probably should have done one shade darker on the red, because you can't tell from this high up, but it was looking a little weird. It wasn't like giving total full coverage on the edges. You could kind of see. Okay, so I think I stopped fidgeting with it here, and I'm going to show you my colors. I think I'm trying to get them in the correct order. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Nope. Okay, never mind. Okay, so here, okay, I'm going to go in with the same colors. And those are the colors you can see that I had written down in that tutorial book. So I'm coming in here with the same colors as the lava for my dragon. And so the wings, I wanted to just give, little wispies. Using all those colors I used for the lava. I ended up deciding, I'll just come back in with the lightest color, fill the whole thing in, and then do the gradients of the oranges. Excuse me. Hope you didn't hear that. So I'm just coming in with each of the darker colors, just going a little bit above. I'm going to let that first wing dry because I want to be able to see the strokes there. So I'm just going to fill that side in with the lightest yellow, and then I'm going to go back in with the next darker color, go almost to the bottom, and then I'm going to come back in with my third darkest color and go over and try not to go all the way to the bottom so you can see those different colors in the wings. And I'm going to go back in with, that's the darkest red. And then I'm going to use that darkest red to just color in the, I don't know, I want to say the meat of the wings. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but you can see what I'm doing. And I am going to use these same colors on the whole dragon. So you can see it's starting to come together. Oh, my girl, here's something out there. I think I'm thinking here if I'm going to do just red for the rest of the body, or if I was going to do something else. I decided then to just go in with the belly and do the same thing I did on the wings, with the little gradient here, just so there's some contrast and it's not the whole body is the same color. So you can see I'm doing that same technique. Trying to dry it. The thing I don't like about the Oros is that there's no, sorry, the camera's going crazy. I did hit it a couple times. When I'm coloring, I get so in the zone that I don't even see what's around me. So the Oros, they have like no indication other than the little pictures on the marker of if it's the chisel or the brush tip, and that's one thing I do not like about these markers. So I ended up deciding to come in with a gradient, just kind of like I did with the lava. Just this is what the technique I would usually do. You can see on the lava, or if you did watch the lava section, I had ended up going with the lightest and then to the darkest. I almost always do darkest to lightest. So this is just me going in, not following the tutorial book. So there's my little dragon face. It's so cute. Looks so cuddly. And I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the body in that same technique. Just darkening up there where the shadows would be under the horns. I ended up going in all red with the mouth, and I'll go back in later, and I ended up making the back of the mouth black with a fine liner. Then I'm just going to do the rest of the body. That same technique, I go in with the darkest. I just kind of outline, especially on these, really small spaces. I'm just going to outline each section in the darkest color, and then I will go ahead and do my gradient again. Couldn't forget the little toes and fingers. So this is a very small space, so I didn't have the whole gradient in there, but I think that's fine because if you have a very small space, that's like normal, you're not going to have a big contrast in real life either, so I'm fine with that. So I do what I can with the gradients, and here I believe I'm going to go into the horns, and the horns were a pain in the butt for me. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with them. I think here I'm thinking about what to do with the horns. And yeah, so I decide, let me find like a darker red. So I'm just kind of testing here the reds. There's these really dark, pretty reds, but they were just not the right shade or tint, hue. I'm not really sure of the actual artistic term. So I ended up going with a brighter red. So what I ended up doing was coming in with the gray, and it was kind of just like the gray was there and I just picked it up and just used it. I was like, oh, maybe this will look cool, and I ended up not liking it. So I messed with it a lot, but I think in the end, it's just, there's these little details that we will obsess over and be like, it's horrible. But then, see, I just come in with the gray, like this really dark gray. It kind of looks okay like that. I don't know. Maybe I just blended too much. So it's hard to see in the video, but in person, it was looking a little weird. So you'll see me fidget back and forth with it a lot. I go back and forth, and I think I ended up going over with another red. And I'm blending so much here that it started going way out of the lines, but I knew that I was doing that mountain, a darker gray behind there, or the volcano, sorry. So I wasn't really too worried about it. When I blend, you probably may have noticed that I do what I call scrubbing it out. I like to scrub out the colors when I'm blending. So, I really like that look that it gives, and I go very hard pressure down when I'm blending. So I'm going back in with that same red and trying to bring it back a little bit. And then I decide, no, this looks too harsh now. Sorry for the reach. I'm going to go back in with another red. So I just went over the gray. And now they're just really dark red, and they're kind of now the color of those two reds that I had tried in the first place, the two darker reds that you can see swatched up there. But then I come in with my blender, and the blender always helps to fix everything. With the blender, I think they ended up looking much better because the blender, if you go back over, it kind of brings like a little bit of each color out. And I use the blender a lot on this page. I don't always use the blender so much, but it is a really good, really good tool. When I first started using markers, I didn't understand. Like, I thought it was like just for blending colors together, and I like never really use it like that ever. I really just use it to get textures and depth in my marker colorings. I'm just wiping some of that red off here. I will say the Ohuhu blenders, they self-clean much better than the Oros markers do. So I'm going to come into the mountains, and I tried to use the same kind of, I wanted that like textured look that I got with the smoke in the clouds. Oh, I'm so mad about the smoke because I think the smoke looks really good there, and I did. You'll see I ruined it. So I'm coming in with blue grays here, the darker blue grays, and then I'm just going to pull some of the light back in with the blender. And I wanted to use the blender, like I said, to get that texture so that it, gave more than just plain color. Obviously, because I want a texture. So I'm using the darker blue grays here. I'm counting this as my black for the mood board since I didn't use black at all. But I think mood boards too are usually just a suggestion for the most part, Otherwise, what fun is it? You want to still be able to be creative. And there are some groups who are okay with that, and then some people who do groups are much more strict. Some people want you to use exactly those colors, and maybe you can use skin colors, but they want you to stick to it. And coloring is supposed to be creative and not like somebody else's creativeness. Like, I enjoy the suggestions, but I want to make it my own still. So I like when there are people who do groups that they're much more lax and don't care if you totally follow their palettes. I think as long as you're in the theme, the mood, then you're good. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun, guys. So you can see kind of the contrast from that upper mountain on the right compared to the rest. I used the blender a lot more up there because I was trying to, bring in that sunlight. I was using it for texture too. Here you see I started to just, I don't know what it's called, maybe dapple. I was trying to get more and more texture in there. So I should have waited till this dried a little more. I do end up going back through when it's dry. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit more because I'm just going to do this same technique with all the mountains. You'll see I end up coming back in with the blender marker a lot to try and give as much texture as possible. So I'm going to stop now and speed this up for you guys. Okay, well, never mind. CapCut will not let me speed it up at all right here. So I guess I'm just going to guide you through it. I'm just going in, I'm doing the darkest on the outsides, trying to follow any pattern, any shadows that might be there. I thought about doing it differently for shadows for the dragon, but in reality, the dragon wouldn't be giving shadows on the mountain in the background. So I did just do darkest on the outsides. And you see I'm going back in with my blender, trying to bring some light back in, trying to give it some more texture. Because, mountains have a lot of texture. So I was trying to just convey that with my markers. You can see that blue stained on the side where it's on my blender, but it doesn't matter because I'm going in there. You guys tell me in the comments if you are into groups on Instagram or any other social media platforms. I've been using my TikTok a little more. I don't know. I get lost in TikTok though. When I do use it, I will like sit down after work and then it's like bedtime, and so that's what I don't like about it. So if I'm posting my own content on there, then I tend to get pulled into other people's because TikTok, the algorithm, it wants you to be, as far as what I understand, it wants you to be active and interacting with other people to get your own content out. So I will, be on there looking at other people's videos, and then it's like my whole night is gone. So it's hard. At least with YouTube, I can have that on in the background and still do stuff, because it's like that's why I love the long form videos of any kind, but I love like the really long videos of like an hour or more is my jam. Doing my last couple mountains, and I got annoyed and over the mountains. I'm not great at doing repetitive stuff when coloring. I get bored way too easily. The ADD is ADDing, and I just wanted to be done with these mountains, so I did both at the same time here. And yeah, I think you can tell I'm over it. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm done with this now. Okay, so they're all colored in, and I'm going to come back in with the blender, bring in that light and some texture to them. And I don't know, people might say this is like a waste of markers, but I just like the look that it gives. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to dab, 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 dab. I just was randomly I went back up to the top because I realized, it's more dry up here. And if you do this with the dry marker, it gives a lot better of an effect. The wet marker, you can't even really tell. So I'm trying to do it on the drier sections first. And I'm just going wherever. It's just, just dab, dab, dab. And you can see I felt the two other mountains. So you can tell with alcohol markers, if you didn't already know, if they're dry, because they will be cold. That section of your paper will stay cold until it's dry. So I decided, okay, I'm going to let that dry for a minute. And I went back in a little bit with those horns, I think they're horns, right? And you can see I felt again. It's still cold. So I'm just dabbing everywhere else. And I figure, okay, it's good enough now. So now my page here is completely colored. So the actual page didn't take me that long to do. It's just going in my technique books, and then here I'm going to start with the details. So I wanted to do outlining, so I had these Posca markers, that one random brush marker. I think that was a Creative Expert brand brush marker. So going in with the orange Posca. These are the 1M size Poscas, and I do love these size markers, pens, whatever you want to call them. Gives good coverage. Although here I'm having to shake it a little better. And they give nice finer lines. If I try to do this with a brush marker, I'm just not patient enough to use like just a very fine tip of the brush. I will just end up making a mess with it. So I like these 1M size because they're really good for outlining, and that's mostly what I use my acrylics for, at least right now. I know that some people use them to like color the whole page, or to pull them out with water, and I just have not really experimented with them. I don't have a huge set. I don't have the guangnas. I don't have the linguos of the acrylic brush. I just have random ones that I buy here and there, mostly from Ross. And those are mostly the Creative Expert brands, and those work really well. I think I have some King Art ones I got there. The thing is, it's just they're all like smaller sets. So I'm going in with yellow, and look at what happens. This happens with my Poscas sometimes. They just like, it's like they just, I don't know, just paint just falls out of them. So you can see I'm showing you like the paper I grabbed to try and wipe it off has all this wet paint. I don't know why I just get like a napkin or another piece of paper, because there's all that wet paint from when I was activating them. So I'm just like, I was so annoyed with this, but I just was like, okay, I'll figure it out. I was trying to think, how can I fix this? How can I make this work? And you will see what I ended up doing was just going over it with the gray marker, and that did not take it away completely, but I think it camouflaged it enough that if you didn't know it was there, then you probably won't notice it. I keep sipping on my water. Hopefully you don't hear me gulping over here. So I went in with a darker, and so it worked, okay, I think. Oh, it makes me so mad though. I mean, the Posca pens are so expensive, and I do like them. I do, but they get so messy. Here I am. I'm just like, what the hell? So I'm coming in with the yellow again. I wish I had a red Posca. I have one in the brush form, but it was not activated yet, so that's why I ended up using that Creative Expert brush marker. So I am just going over the lines, and you can see it's not really giving very good coverage there. But at this point, I was scared of the pen. I didn't want it to explode again. So I ended up, this is what it gave me when I tried. It's ridiculous. So what I ended up doing was, there's that big yellow puddle, and I ended up just dipping it in the puddle of paint, and that turned out to give better coverage, but it did make it messier. But at the end of the day, it's whatever. No one's really like looking at my lines. I mean, how closely do you really look at other people's pages? You look at them from whatever picture that you see on Instagram, and I mean, I'm not at least zooming in on stuff unless I want to try and like see what kind of technique they were using, because I think that their pages are so good. I'm not like, oh my god, I think they made a mistake there, let me zoom in and look at it. I don't think anybody's doing that, and if you are, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So you can see I'm dipping, just dipping it in my puddle. It's ridiculous. Gonna go back in with my orange and finish out the other wing and the body. I like the 1Ms because they have like they're like a pointed, it's like a pointy bullet tip. And since it's Posca, it has that like plastic nib that I love. My favorite metallic acrylics have that same plastic nib, same size, but those are a Creative Expert. Honestly, I really don't feel like the paint matters so much as the nib type, and I really think the plastic nibs give better coverage than the fiber tip nibs of brush markers. I mean, you can see I'm still doing, like, having to do some areas with multiple layers, but for the most part, you can just use one layer with these ones. And I do, like I said, tend to go over everything with acrylics. I just really like the look that it gives. It makes it just a little more, I guess, painterly, maybe. I don't know. It just, I like it. I mean, comparing the wing here to the body, like the black just feels so like abrupt, you know? And you can see as I go, it looks much better, at least to me. One thing I don't do is the faces. If you outline the facial features, it just looks weird most of the time. So sometimes I'll do some of them. Like I thought about maybe doing like the nose or the mouth or something, but I decided to just leave it alone because once it's on there, and you're just, I mean, you don't have much of a choice after that, unless you want to go back over it with fine liner, and then it just starts to look messy. So I just usually leave the facial features alone. I have learned that the hard way. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was off camera here with his little feet, but I'm just outlining. What do you guys use for your blotter pages? I have a humongous stack of scrap paper that I take from work. Like if I'm just gonna throw something out, I mean, I work in healthcare, so obviously it cannot have any like patient information on it, but things like that don't have anything important on it, I will just take that home. Oops, sorry. I'm like trying to I hit it and I was like trying to stabilize it. I will take it home, and I will I have a huge stack in my closet, so I just use that. And here I'm activating that. This is a silver metallic Posca that I have not activated yet, so I was just activating that. I really didn't need to activate this because I have a silver metallic acrylic that's already activated. I don't know why I did this, but it is a really nice silver, this Posca. I really like it, so I decided to go in on the horns. Am I crazy? They are called horns, right? Is there, like, I don't know, I feel like I might be crazy thinking, oh, there's some other word for them, but they're just horns, right? I don't know, are they called something different on a dragon? So I just finished the game, the Throne of Glass. I'm reading the Throne of Glass series, and there's not per se dragons in there, but they have what they call wyverns, and to me, in my mind, they're dragons. And so this page to me was like so fitting for part of the book. If anybody has read Heir of Fire, that's the fourth book. Third or fourth, depending on how you read the series, but I read it as the fourth book. And this page just reminded me so much of all of the witches riding their wyverns and in the mountains. So I loved doing this page. I thought it was perfect for the mood board, and it was perfect for the book that I just finished. I'm a dragon girly. I love them. I think probably mostly because I'm just in my fantasy era right now. Just adding some silver silver accents to the wings. Nothing you can even really see, but in person you can. So I'm trying to clean up that yellow. It turned out really messy on that wing specifically because I was dipping the paint, and so it was messy. But yeah, I'm definitely in my dragon era. I love that like loyalty that the dragons and their riders have together, and just like the like unending love they have for each other. I think is so beautiful. Even in Throne of the Heir of Fire, for the witches who have like no feelings whatsoever, don't like anybody, they even had that bond with their wyverns, and I love that book so much. I love this whole series. So I'm just going over with the red, and this is a brush marker, so I'm having to do it a couple of times. I don't think it matters what brand it is. And then here I was like, let me just draw some splattering off. I kind of regretted this as soon as I did it though, because I don't know, I was like, I did not think this through. The pen was on the paper and I was doing it. So then I decided, let me have some dripping down. I don't love the splash that I made coming off into the sky, but I do like, it looks like it's bleeding lava down the mountain. I do like that. So I was trying to fix this up a little bit here. I was scared to do too much, make it look worse. So then I decided to go in with my orange a little bit. Give it a little something more than the red. Try and blend it in a little more. So I just mostly did dots with the orange. Did a little on the other side. But once I did that first splash off, I was like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. So I did not do another. I think it looks fine though in the end. I don't know, you tell me, does it look random there? So coming back in just to fix the horn, and I just have the mountains and the clouds and the smoke left to outline. I'll be done with that. So I'm using a thicker, I think this is a 3M Posca, and this is where my pour smoke goes downhill. I should have just left it like that. What I should have done is used a gray acrylic instead of a white acrylic. But I thought the white would give it like a better highlight. I was wrong. I should have just used a gray acrylic marker and just left it as the outline. But then I felt like this white looked like too much of a contrast. So then I was like, oh, well, let me like fill it in a little. Let me add dots. I just kept adding and adding. Sometimes less is more, guys. Sometimes less is definitely more. So this, I think, was okay. That looked fine. I should have left it like that. But then this side, I don't know, something just looked different. I think I added way more as I'm coloring in the edges here, and it looked like too uniform. And so then I just kept adding and adding and adding. You know, like, see, that looks way different. That's like, I had pumped the marker and it came out way brighter. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I need to extend it out. And then I just ruined it. I did. But it is what it is. I had never used that technique for like smoke or clouds that I had found in that tutorial book, which, by the way, is really cool. There are like, I want to say there's 50 sky tutorials in that book. and it's only skies. So I think it's really cool. I think it is that artist's first tutorial book, and I did talk to her. I commented on her post when I saw that when she first released it, and here I was like, oh no, I'm not going to use that white again and ruin my clouds too. So I came in here with the silver. Sorry, my hand is covering. But I had asked, I think her name is Twinkle Toes. I asked her, she said that she plans on doing a whole series like this where, you know, this one was just skies. So maybe the next one will be like, I don't know, just hair or whatever. She didn't say hair, but I'm just making that up. So like just, you know, most of them are a collection of a bunch of different things. Other than Willow Lake Studio, she has like the magical world. She has a Halloween one. She has a winter one. But those still are like a collection of different things. I really like the idea of like, okay, if I want to find a sky, then I can just go to this book and look at all of the skies, not look through a million different books, through all of the other categories. I really think it's a really good idea, and all of her skies are really nice and pretty simple, but also like creative and look really good. So you can see my smoke is looking like crap here. I just started to kind of scribble onto the smoke, trying to make it look somewhat decent, and I just kept making it worse and worse and worse. I much prefer the silver. I wish I had just used that silver on the smoke. But like I said, this was, I'm recording this voiceover Saturday morning. I did this last night, Friday night, and I haven't posted anything on Instagram or in the group yet. So I think I'm going to go back in today to the smoke and try and add some of my gray marker back into it to try and like cover up some of the white and make it look more natural and not so stark of just white scribbles all over the smoke. So here I'm going to try and fix the smoke more and just make it worse by adding this brush marker, because I thought, oh, well, maybe it's just because I'm using that. I was just showing you my hands are so messy from these Poscas. Just gonna use this blue to outline the mountains. But I thought maybe the white brush marker would make it better. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. Giving my mountains a little outline. I think the blue ended up looking good. I did, use the blue grays on there. Even though they're the darker ones, the blue just gives it a little bit of a pop. Oh, hitting the camera again. So here I'm going in and just adding and adding and adding more and more and more. More scribbles. I'm just literally scribbling. So mad. Because I really did like that smoke. Yeah, there it is, guys. At that point, I decided this is not going well at all. So here, I'm just, I don't know, I think I just left the camera. I just was like, you know what, screw this. I'm over this smoke. No, I'm kidding. I believe here I am looking on my phone at dragon silhouettes because I want to add dragons to the background. Yeah, so you can see on my phone I am looking at different silhouettes. I think I had realized, I should probably like show everybody what I'm doing since I'm filming. So here I am just attempting to draw dragons. I like a silhouette to put in the background. Obviously this is way bigger than I need in the backgrounds, but I'm just kind of messing around with it. Sorry, my doggie here's, I think it was the ice maker, and she's very concerned about it. So then at this point I have my fine liner, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to fill that back of the mouth in because I don't know why I did it all red. That was silly. That looks better. I'm still thinking about dragons. I'm still thinking, okay, how can I just do this real quick? And nope, not that. Nope. I'm not someone who drawing comes naturally to. So I kind of like have to think very hard about it. So here I'm just deciding I'm going to go with my pencil. And sorry, I didn't realize at that time that the camera was focusing more on my hand than the paper. So, you know, I'm doing just like rough sketches. I don't think they needed to be perfect because they're just going to be silhouette. I was trying to do like an arrow on the head and then like a bat body with a tail. That's what I was thinking here. I was like counting how many times I had gone for the wing. Oh, that head is messed up, but here, I'm going to fix that. See, that's what happens when I draw. Like, I'm trying to do one thing and my hand just does another. Like, I don't know why I did it backwards. That looks better. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to fill it in with my fine liner. And here I was a little more careful than I was with the pencil. But again, no one's going to look that close. And I think that they give dragon. And that's all I was going for. So I just filled these in to have silhouettes. I'm going to do the same over here. I don't know, maybe from close up the smoke doesn't look as bad as I think it does, but it's pretty bad. I need to stop obsessing over it. You know, this is just a quick page. Not a masterpiece. It was just a fun dragon page, so. So I'm going to draw a couple more. And I end up filling those in with that silver metallic Posca. And again, if you've read Arrtx Fire, you know what I'm talking about with this page and all of the witches and their wyverns. Does everybody else imagine a wyvern as a dragon? Because when there was a wyvern in the castle in the first or second book, I imagined it more of just like some evil creature. But then when the witches started writing them in this book, I hope I'm not giving any spoilers. I'm not really giving spoilers because it's nothing important. I'm not giving any important information at least. But yeah, now I just imagine them as kind of like creepy, dark dragons. So I did some here just that look like, you know, you would draw birds as a kid at the seashore. Just to kind of fill in that sky. Sorry, I'm so far off of the camera here. I think I end up moving the book up a little bit. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Come on, move the book, move the book. Okay, I'm erasing all those pencil marks. Maybe I'll move it. I didn't know how to do this with the Posca. I was like, gonna mess up my paint. So I was trying to just like dab the eraser. Should have grabbed my kneadable and used that. I just kind of came back in and filled that marker in because it did kind of dull it down. Nope, sorry guys. Guess I don't move the book for that last dragon, but I am going to draw that last dragon the same way and fill it in with the silver. So I ended up having the 2 black dragons, 2 silver dragons in the background, and I think that I was glad that I added those in the backgrounds. I think they look really good. Oh, excuse me, I'm sleepy. I tend to stay up way too late on the weekends. Well, let's be real, every night, but definitely the weekends. It's almost noontime Saturday for me, so I think the rest of the day I'm probably going to color and read and do some laundry and stuff. What are you guys up to this weekend? Just adding my little birdie dragons to the page, and there, now I finally moved it. See, I think that looks pretty good. It's giving dragons for sure. So this about wraps it up. I will post the finished page on Instagram. Not really sure what I'm doing here. I'm just like leaving the page half in frame. But I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope that you show me your dragon pictures. I know they're the thing right now, so I know you have them. I hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy.